Today we'll be discussing about media and information literacy and convergent approach. But before we get into this, how convergent approach is used in the context of media and information literacy, we'll be talking about convergence, what exactly it is. And I'll try to give an example, which means we'll go a little back in the sense that the developments which had happened in the field of communication. Let's go back to the first development, and which was the invention of printing press. So that was the first development which has happened in the field of communication, which we can label as revolution. And why we are labeling it as a revolution? Because before that, this knowledge creation was in the hands of very few people. But after the invention of printing press, the people could start printing books, and the dissemination of information was made possible because of that. Second development which had happened in the field of communication was the invention of telephone, telegram, which was one-on-one communication. In one, it was text-based communication. In another, it was, the voice-based communication. Now, third development which had happened was, storing images or moving images in any physical device, which means your photography, your cinema. And the fourth development was your radio and television, wherein we were harnessing all those electromagnetic waves. So these were the four developments, and then came the internet, which means your new media. Now, when we look at all these revolutions, there is some sort of asymmetry there, which means that the medium which allowed one-on-one communication was not allowing mass communication, and the medium which was allowing mass communication was not allowing one-on-one communication. So let's take example of printing press, which means when you're talking about printing, when we are talking about the textbooks and all, the mass communication is possible. With newspapers, mass communication is possible, but one-on-one communication is not possible there. And when you're talking about telegraph and telegram, you have one-on-one communication which is possible through these medium, but you don't have mass communication possible with this. And same is with the case of television, radio, and cinema, wherein mass communication was possible, but one-on-one communication was not possible. Now, when you look at the new media, when you look at the medium which is based on internet, you would see that on this particular medium, all sort of communication is possible, which means if someone wants to have a personal chat, that is also possible. If someone wants to have a group chat, that is also possible. And if someone wants to broadcast something to a wider public, that is also possible. Which means using one medium, you're having interpersonal communication, you're having group communication, and you're having a mass communication also. So this is the first form of convergence, which means each form of communication is happening using one medium, which was not there earlier. Which means, like, if you look at the print, which it was only print. When you looked at television and radio, it was only television, it was only radio. But now when you look at any internet platform, when you look at online portal, you have web pages, but on those web pages you have images, you have infographics, you have audio, you have video. So if you take internet as a base technology, we can say that all other medium, they are residing next to each other. So that's one form of convergence which is happening. Another is, when you're talking about technological convergence, and this is something which we have just discussed, we know that, nowadays, there is no segregation as such. You're reading a newspaper, but in a newspaper, if you want to go to, some app, you just have to scan that, and you can have the same thing on your cell phone. So this is like the kind of technological convergence. But when we are talking about media and information literacy, the convergence concept is a little different in the sense that it's not related to these two sort of convergences which I have just talked about. When we are talking about media and information literacy, we are moving away from this technological convergence. We are talking about policy convergence, we are talking about structural convergence, and which means that, when you're talking about information and media and information literacy, it is not something, which can be initiated by one organization. There are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of departments, there are a lot of ministries who have to work together to make this thing happen, which means if someone wants to come up with a national policy on media and information literacy, so there are a number of ministries, there are a number of departments who have to involve in that, so that we can call that as a convergent approach. Now, so which means, there's this concept of crossing policy, which means like with the increasing globalization and technological convergence, it enables government to develop policies and program in a concerted way. And and the biggest example of this is Digital India. We have seen that, 5 or 6 years back, all the ministries, they have their own mission mode projects, which means whatever it was there in that ministry related to ICT, whether it was Ministry of Human Resources and Development, whether it was Ministry of Communication, whether it was Ministry of Environment, they were all handling those projects at their own level. But with the Digital India coming in, what happened that, all those mission mode projects, they come under one umbrella, that is Digital India. So which means that after this technological innovations, we have to have these projects in a concerted manner rather than, having it in the different ministries or different departments. And there is a need for collaboration among ministries and different departments. And the reason why we need to have the collaboration is because then this collaboration will lead to the harmonization of policies which are connected with each other. Now, if you look at media and information literacy in India, it's not that we don't have a policy. Yes, we do not have a policy on media and information literacy. But if you look at number of policies, when you look at national curriculum framework which was given by NCERT, or if you look at the national policy on education, if you look at the policies which are being given by Ministry of Communication, you would see some elements of media and information literacy are there. But the thing is that right now there is a need to bring all these things together and come up with one robust, holistic policy on media and information literacy. So I'll just give you this example. For example, when you look at MIL policies, it actually starts from the education. So you have this education policy, this leads to ICT policies, then you have media policies, and then you have MIL policies, and then access to information and policies. So these are all interconnected with each other. I mean, we cannot say that in education we have these policies and we won't have it in like when we are talking about the communication policy or when we are talking about regulation, it has to be there. Then media policy and strategies, these are a lot of development issues and we have to draw from all these issues. For example, education is one. You have preservation of documentary and heritage, language vitality, freedom of expression, development of libraries, media communication development, free and open source software, freedom of information, professional journalistic standards, media regulation, and free and open educational resources. Now, these are all development issues. Now, these all issues, resources from these all issues should feed into whatever work we are doing in MIL policies. For example, Ministry of HRD, they came up with the policy on open and educational resources. Now, this policy can easily be a part of your MIL policy, right? But we need to know like what all policies, the different departments are having in India so that we can have it together at one particular platform. Now, I would just like to discuss with you, this is the convergent approach. The convergent approach basically means that the policy convergence, we need to know like what different departments are doing and to get all work and all resources together. Where do we stand in India? When we are talking about media and information literacy, a lot of work has been done world over. But what exactly is happening in India right now and what has happened in the past and what is the way forward? And this is what we are going to discuss about. Now, media and information literacy, I think we this particular subject or the concept was initiated when the National Curriculum Framework was made. This National Curriculum Framework said one very important thing is that you learn outside the school environment, you learn more outside the school environment, and that actually opened the door for media and information literacy, because students learn a lot outside their classrooms also. Students learn a lot outside their schools also. So, and that particular thing which was mentioned in the National Curriculum Framework actually opened door for media studies at school level. And that was the time it was thought that when the different subjects, for example, when we are talking about education, we are giving a lot of attention, we are giving a lot of focus to the subjects like science, social science, geography, sociology, political science, everything. But unfortunately, we are not giving importance to a subject which is very important and dear to students, and that is media. They end up spending a lot of time with media. They consume media messages from television, from newspaper, from radio, from their smartphones. But unfortunately, the subject was not treated as a subject, and they were not this subject was not discussed at the school level. So the first thing which was done at school level was, in the curriculum framework, it was decided that since media is very integral part of the society, it's very integral part of students' lives also, this subject was integrated in the school curriculum in the textbook. For example, the textbooks which were on social science, political science, sociology. So in all these textbooks, a lot of clippings were used from the newspapers. So the whole idea was, the media should not be treated, or it should not be kept isolated, and should be integrated with the subjects which the students were studying at that point of time. Now this was the first initiative which was done, and that was the first attempt to integrate media and information literacy in formal education in India. The second phase was, there was this research which was conducted, and the research was basically, we were trying to find out what all media literacy initiatives are there in the different parts of the world, and we were trying to get lessons from those particular initiatives. So this is the research study which is available on the web also, wherein we have actually collated all the media literacy programs which were running at that point of time across the world, and the document was prepared on that. And then promote media and information literacy. So right now I've just discussed with you one organization, which means NCERT, which was working on this thing. So they came out with National Curriculum Framework. Second work was done by the unit of National Council for Educational Research and Training, that is CIT, and they came up with a series on media and information literacy. This was a video series on media and information literacy. The title of the series is Media Matters, and the whole idea of this series is to promote this concept amongst teachers and students and parents. And there are 3 programs which are made under this particular series, which is available on the web for the people to see. It's there on the NCERT's YouTube channel also. Then we realized that when you integrate subject in any integrate MIL in any subject, the focus still remains with that subject. The teachers and the students, they were not giving much importance to MIL concept. So then we started with media as a standalone subject. We said that, okay, fine, integrated in one thing, so let us try to have media as a standalone subject. So at that point of time, this subject was started, and this was introduced at class 11th and 12th, and it was an elective subject. Now we faced a lot of challenges when when you work with different organizations, when you work with different departments, you also face a lot of challenges. When this idea was there that it has to be introduced as a standalone subject, the challenges were, one, most of the teachers who were already there in the schools, they were unfamiliar with the subject. They were not trained in this particular subject. Teachers and parents both, they felt that this will add to an extra load for the students, because initially it was not an elective, it was like the idea was to have it like any other subject. And then this problem was addressed by offering it as an electives, which means that the students who are interested in this, they can take up this particular subject, and if they are not, then it was an elective thing. So this is something which was done. Now this challenge that the teachers were unfamiliar with this particular subject, so the idea came that we need to train teachers. One is that we cannot introduce that at B.Ed level. The best convergent approach would have been to introduce that at B.Ed level, train teachers in media and information literacy, and then have those teachers in the schools. But since it was introduced, so like it was decided that the media training programs will be conducted for the teachers, and this is what was done at NCERT, and thousands of teachers, they attended a training program, media training program, wherein they were given lessons and sessions and practical training programs on analyzing media messages and constructing media messages. Now, introduction of subject, it was done, but there were challenges because we are talking about the convergent approach. NCERT did this thing, but at the same time there is another sister organization which comes under Ministry of Human Resources and Development, that's CBSE, that also started its own media curriculum. So at one point of time, you had two syllabus, two curriculum, and the students and the teachers were confused, which one to accept and which one to read from. So what next, which means both the strategies were tried, integrating it with other subjects like languages and social sciences and offering it as a standalone subject. And we faced challenges, implementing both. So there was a consultation meet with the teachers wherein we discussed with them, the kind of problem they could face, when, or they are facing when they started with this particular subject. And the idea which came from teachers, it was not something which came from NCERT or any organization. This idea came from teachers, and they said that we'll establish media clubs in schools, and the whole idea is to initiate discourse on media, so that can be done even after establishing media clubs in schools. So there is something which was accepted by the organization, and the media clubs were set up in the different schools. The objective of these media clubs was to develop among students an understanding of the effects of mass media on themselves as individuals, and also upon society and how the media influence our understanding of reality. Also to develop skills to deconstruct media messages by making them understand the constructed nature of it, to develop skills to encourage the production of creative media messages, and to encourage students to express their feelings and thoughts through media messages they produce, and to also introduce students to the various career opportunities which are available in the field of media industry. So that these were the objectives of media clubs, and that's how we started with this. Now, what was the structure of club? We had a media club coordinator, we have a president of the club who was the principal, then we had secretary who was the vice principal, and then we had 4 members, we had teachers, and we had experts from media and media education. So this is how it was done. Some of the school had only the internal resource, internal members as part of this media club, but some of the school decided to have people from the media industry also, and also experts from the media education. Now, what are the activities which were done by these media clubs? They worked on media diary, they worked on their school newspapers, they worked on a photography assignments, documentary, screening of those media messages or those media products, media advocacy programs, media literacy activities, interface with media, which means, they used to visit, different channels, radio and television, to see, how media functions. And then they created their own Facebook page, they created their own blog, and at the end of it, there was a seminar wherein all those students who were part of this media club and the teachers who were part of that media club, they got together and they shared their experiences of running that particular Media Club. In addition to this, that was the first time. There's another thing which we had done, which was that NCRT organizes this All India Children Educational Audio Video Festival. We started a new category of for students so that they can send in their entries. So all those students, all those teachers who created media messages, which means different programs, different video programs on number of issues, they actually were given opportunity to not only create but showcase their products. So this is a SWOT analysis, which means what worked and what didn't work. The strength, like with us at that point of time, was dedicated and trained Media Club members. Then we had need for media discourse in classroom and acceptance among school for this project. Club concept has its own advantages as compared to new subject, and the experience of Media Club coordinators, because the moment we realized that there are some of the teachers who are trained, and when they started conducting their Media Club activities, they gained that confidence and they were eager to train teachers further. There were weaknesses also, so which means it was a voluntary thing, no incentives for school, Media Club coordinators to continue with the project. Focus is more on construction than on analysis exercise. This is something which we got to know a little later, that the students and the teachers were focusing more on creating media messages, constructed media messages, rather than having exercise on analysis of media messages. Third was inadequate training to teachers. Teachers wanted training, after like every 4 or 5 months, which they were not given. So it was quite inadequate for them. Media Club as a part of CCE automatically became part of CCE because, they said that, okay, there are a lot of assignments which are being given to students, and then it can be evaluated as part of CCE. Infrastructure was not enough in schools. They didn't have any studios, no recording studio, nothing. So whatever the students were doing, they were doing with the help of, the people from the media education. And then lack of monitoring mechanism. There was no monitoring as such on what all activities are being done by these Media Club coordinators. There were opportunities also. What we did, we tied up with Regional Institute of Education's KVS, Kendriya Vidyalayas, Navodaya Vidyalaya, tie up with the schemes like RMSA, KGBV, SSA, involvement of local media, and to have a nationwide study on media habits of school children. There's another NGO, they started with this concept of Filmi Chashma. The concept of Filmi Chashma is that, they used to organize workshops for children, and they used to screen cinema, which was of for their of their relevance, which means like it should have a concept which is there in their school curriculum. Then school cinema. This is also like another NGO. They started with, identifying, what are the movies, what are the pictures which can be screened in schools, and they were going all over India screening those movies. Then Expressions India, this is something which I have talked about. This is IYFMF. It's International Young Filmmakers Festival. It happens every year, wherein the topics are given to the students and schools, and they make documentaries on that topic. And then the festival is organized, every year, wherein they come, they attend a lot of workshops also, they screen their product also, and there is a competition for that. Peace Gong, that's another initiative, that's a children newspaper which was started. Then World Comics, this is something which is very interesting, which was started by, World Comics Network. As part of this, they conduct, a lot of workshops in comics, a lot of training program for teachers, for students, and then they create comics based on their experiences. So this is the perfect example of, training kids, students, teachers to construct media messages. And this worked well wherein we didn't have much resource, which means in the rural areas where the students and the teachers who did not have access to computers, who did not have access to other technology, they actually use this particular way to express themselves. So these are some of the work which was actually done by them. They created their own comics on number of issues. So now when we are talking about convergence approach, so what are the recommendations? The recommendations are that we have seen number of organizations are working on this particular issues separately. We have seen that there is no convergence, there is no synergy. They're working at the different platforms. We have seen the example of two organizations like CBSE and NCRT, which are sister organization that comes under MHRD. Even they are working on these things separately. Other than this, you have NDLM, which is National Digital Literacy Mission, which is being initiated by Ministry of Communication. In that also, MIL curriculum is there, but they have not looked into what NCRT is doing, what CBSE is doing. In addition to this, you have number of other initiatives, NGOs, which are contributing to this, but they are doing everything at their own level. So the whole idea is, when we are talking about convergent approach, we are talking about the structural convergence, we are talking about the policy convergence. Whatever initiatives which have been taken place in media and information literacy till now has to be documented, and then we have to come up with one document on MIL, a national policy on MIL, which is need of the hour. In addition to this, we need to have MIL ambassadors, which means all the journalism schools. We have thousands of journalism schools in India. All these departments, if they can adopt 5 schools in their own city, at least we can give push to this media and information literacy, which is very important at this point of time, wherein a lot of information is coming from television, from radio, from online platforms, and the students, teachers, and for that matter each one in the society should be skilled enough, trained enough to know, to access what kind of messages which are coming, to analyze those messages, and not only analyze those messages, to construct messages also. Because we say that when you're talking about new media, each and every individual who has access to internet is, yes, that person is a consumer, but that person is also a potential producer. So we need to train each one of the person to create media messages effectively and efficiently. Thank you.